At least 7 people have died in the United States after a medical jet crashed on a road in Philadelphia. More than a dozen people were injured. Our North America correspondent Jade McMillan joins us now from the scene in Philadelphia. Jade, what can you tell us about what's happened there and the sort of recovery operation that seems to be happening behind you right now?
Well, this is as close as we can get to the crash site. This area has still been blocked off to the public. We can see debris all over the road there. There are several burned out cars. There are teams of investigators that are now making their way across what would normally be a very busy intersection. That investigation into just what went wrong here is now underway. There were 6 people on the medical jet that crashed shortly after taking off from a nearby airport. That included 4 crew members, a child, a girl who had been receiving medical treatment at a Philadelphia hospital, and her mother. They were all from Mexico and they were headed home. They were headed back to Mexico via the US state of Missouri when this crash occurred. We've also learned today that another person on the ground, a person who was in their car at the time of the crash, has died, and at least 19 other people have been injured. But authorities warned earlier today that those numbers could shift, that they are really still trying to work out the extent of the impact here, that the debris stretches for blocks of this very densely populated area. We've spoken to people who live in this part of northeast Philadelphia. They've described hearing this incredibly loud noise last night. They've come out of their homes, seen the explosion, described just being so horrified by what they witnessed. Let's hear from one of those residents and then the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro.
Because I live not too far from here. And then all of a sudden, like maybe a couple seconds later, I heard a loud explosion. It was so loud that it shook the ground. At first I thought it was a missile or a bomb, and it shook my house, and I heard screams. And that's what got me up, and I said, I have to leave. And I came out of my house. My neighbors came out. We were all in panic. We didn't know what it was until we looked back and we saw the smoke, and we saw that it was a plane. And everything was on fire. And then the debris was coming, and it was fired everywhere. Cars were on fire. The debris was on the floor. Houses were getting on fire. It was like a horror movie.
I know that the good people of Northeast Philadelphia this morning, as daybreak came, walked out from their homes, came down from their stoops, and saw carnage in their communities, saw fuselage, saw destruction, and saw things that no one should ever have to experience in their neighborhoods. We also saw the very best of Northeast Philly, neighbor helping neighbor, folks looking out for one another. That's the Philly way.
Jade, it's obviously a shocking tragedy, and of course it comes the same week as a devastating plane and helicopter crash that occurred in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, it's quite staggering that we've had these 2 aviation tragedies within a couple of days of each other in the United States. Washington, D.C. is just a few hours' drive from Philadelphia. Authorities there are still trying to recover all of the bodies of the 67 people who were killed in that mid-air collision between a passenger jet and a military helicopter. Investigations there still in their early stages, but the flight data recorders from both of the aircraft have been recovered, so that information will be used to try to work out what happened there. Helicopter activity in that part of DC has also been heavily restricted while those investigations are underway.